Thank you for joining us wherever you are. This podcast episode is brought to you by the Old Ways Actual Play team. This actual play uses the 7th edition Call of Cthulhu tabletop role-playing game rules by Chaosium. This actual play is performed by adults and in an adult setting. While we try very hard to stick to languages for all ages, listeners should know that this podcast may include mature themes. All content, including names, places, events, companies, and etc., that may bear resemblance to entities living or dead, is strictly coincidental. My name is Michael Diamond, and for tonight's game, I will be your keeper. Thank you for joining us again on another episode of the Old Ways Podcast. I'm your keeper, Keeper Michael, and we return to Masks of Nyarlathotep in our Egypt chapter. We are in for quite a time this evening. So before we get to all of that, we want to thank our listeners and everybody who supports the show, whether it's just listening or whether it's sharing our links online or whether it's coming over and joining us on patreon.com/the Old Ways Podcast. We greatly appreciate your support. So before we get to tonight's events, we're going to do our standard introductions. So to my right.
This is Tiffany, and I play Maeve O'Shea, and I learned a lot.
Hey, you had quite the, we don't like to call them info dumps. That's a dirty word, but you had quite a discussion there with Dr. Ali Kafur, and you've learned some very interesting tidbits. To Miss O'Shea's right.
This is Morgan. I play Lillian Lane, and the doctor and I are on a field trip.
You are. You're going to go investigate some information that may or may not be true. We will find that out likely very shortly.
This is Jake. I'll be playing Jack Doyle, and looks like I'll be doing security this evening, which is fine.
Quite possibly, yes. To Mr. Doyle's right.
This is Lonnie, and I am playing Awdel Czar, and I have something I brought home.
It's a present of sorts. More on that later.
This is James. I'll be playing Dr. Sigmund Tartenbach. And, well, I'm enjoying Cairo so far. This does not seem to be a problem.
To round us out, last but most certainly not least.
This is Alex. I'll be playing Sam Perron, who left the house to find a head of cattle and came back with a different kind.
We return to our story in kind of a strange place. The afternoon is crawling forward towards evening at this point. And the safe house has a couple of occupants who are far, far more out of energy than the rest of them. So, Sam, you have gotten Awdel into a chair. And you've managed to get some things around him so that way he's a bit propped up. He does look like he's a little, still out of sorts physically. But you're more concerned with how his mental state is. And you kind of feel, well, this is a bit of a strange turnabout for you.
Certainly.
His right hand especially is what grips you a little bit. You can see how thickly coated in blood his right hand is from having gripped the head along the way. It's very distressing. It's going to take quite a bit of cleaning to get that blood out.
I guess, is Awdel responsive? Is he focused at all? Do I feel like he can hear me?
I feel like he can hear you. You feel like he's coming out of it now.
Okay. And as far as our situation goes, I have an Awdel. Is he still holding the head?
No, you've managed to secure it into a basket. It was at one point used for bread. It will likely no longer use that as its purpose in the future.
Sure. Okay. So if he's been separated from the head and his hatchet, is he currently unarmed?
As far as you know.
Okay. I'll kneel in front of him. I'll see if I can catch his eyes. Awdel, can you hear me?
Yes.
Good. Because this is the last conversation that we are going to have about Awdel. Because Awdel's created some problems for us. And I understand that you had to defend yourself out there. However, the person that's looking for us is likely, an egomaniacal madman. And you've made this very personal. Trust me, I find the comedy in it too. But we don't know how much longer we have to be here. So, Awdel, you can't be Awdel anymore. I hate to break it to you, but your life is over.
Mr. I'm sorry, I'm afraid I never caught your name.
Call me Sam.
Do you think this is the first man of power and position who has tried to take me down, take my life away from me?
I don't care if this is the 17th.
Then ask where the others were.
The fact is, I don't trust you to defend us from this man right now, because I don't know how long we're going to be here.
Unlike me, you can leave anytime you wish.
Well, from what I was able to put together, last time we spoke, it seemed like you were looking to get out of here as well. Now, I'm not going to volunteer our company, but I do have to ensure our safety. So you have two options here, Awdel. You can either go out there and try to defend yourself from whoever their follow-up is, because once they find you, they will make an example out of you. Or you can heed my advice and perhaps end up with some semblance of support at the end of this. But it's not going to be up to me. All I did was get you off the street. I can probably improve your situation a bit, but you're going to have to give up something.
I've given up everything.
It's good to hear. So while I go dispose of your friend, why don't you go get cleaned up, get out of those clothes, and help me figure out where I can get a cow. I'll be right back.
Very good. So Jack and Maeve, was your intention to continue with Dr. Kafur this evening?
I thought he had talked about we were going to have to meet up and study and go over what we would need.
Yep. So that's kind of the clarity that I want from the two of you, is that Dr. Kafur is happy to have someone along who is willing to walk this path, given the need for someone knowledgeable and obviously someone to guard the site while it takes place. But it can't be tonight. It's going to take you and him quite some time to devise and understand the working.
Right.
So if that is the case, would the two of you be heading back to the safe house after your meeting?
Yeah, I figured we'd probably head back. I mean, unless there's something that Jack wants to do on the way, and basically wait for him to contact me when to meet up so we can start our study group, basically.
Yeah, no, we can head back. There's no reason. I don't have anything else planned for today.
I just think it's best to stay off the streets if they've seen that we've gone there, and potentially talk to the doctor or whatever. So
sure. Yeah, the two of you head back then, and between you and Miss O'Shea and Sam, who has the lowest luck?
59.
I think mine is 60 now. It might not say it on this.
Mine's like 89, I think.
Yeah. Okay. So, Sam, why don't you give me a luck roll for the three of you?
Sure. 58 out of 59. I'll take it.
As luck would have it, the two of them are returning as you're beginning to deal with the situation. You're leaving to deal with it. As I assume you're not burying the ad here in the house.
No. So I put like a drape over the basket, basically put it under I carry it like I'm carrying produce.
Right.
And I'm probably like walking out the door as they roll up.
Yep.
Doing some shopping, Sam?
Oh, no, definitely dropping off. So we have a bit of a situation inside, and I haven't had an opportunity to clean it up yet. But our friend Awdel was attacked in the streets about noon.
Is he okay?
He's survived. He's inside. He's getting cleaned up right now. It got bloody. Very bloody. And I believe that our guide may have become a little bit unhinged given the circumstances. So I don't really want to leave him alone too long, but it resulted in him making a point and to send a message to his attacker, which I'm going to dispose of right now. I tap the basket.
Oh.
Kind of shake it moistily.
Okay. Well, good luck with that.
I'll be back shortly. I brought him back here just to make sure that our situation remains at least somewhat manageable, but we're going to have to decide what to do about him and with him. I'll be back. Don't mind the trail leading inside. The mops are ready, and there's obviously water. I start walking.
Right.
Yeah, so stepping inside the house, Jack, you can see that there is, here and there, drops of red and now brown stains on the floor of the house. And you can see that at one point by a chair near the door here, some of them have collected. There's actually on the wood, there's relatively fresh blood, and you can hear the water pump going in the back of the house.
Great.
I can't say that this is totally unexpected.
No, I think this particularly is fairly unexpected.
What, that Awdel would get attacked?
Well, it's pretty much that whole situation. Awdel and whatever is in the basket, and we'll deal with it.
Yeah.
Okay. So the two of you are back at the safe house. Are you inquiring after Awdel, or are you trying to give him space?
I'm going to give him a little bit of time. I have some research to do, which is kind of higher on my list right now. So
certainly. What are you going to research?
I'm going to see if I can study further and see if I can find more out about this slab that I have.
Okay. So you go into your room and you begin studying, I assume, just on the bed?
Yeah.
Okay. You make a fairly curious discovery. Under your pillow, there's a note.
Interesting.
Looks handwritten.
Well, then, given the note, I will put my books down and go inquire after Awdel.
Okay. Jack, what are you up to?
I think I will start cleaning up the kitchen some, giving Awdel a little bit of space. He'll come in when he's ready.
Okay. Yeah, the kitchen is relatively in decent repair, but there's probably 4 or 5 things to get to. Maeve comes back downstairs a couple minutes later. Awdel, for your part, you are just in the washroom, just trying to get the bits of it underneath your fingernails and in some of the folds and wrinkles inside your knuckles.
Yes, but I do know a little bit about the fact that blood doesn't ever really come out except through work and repetition.
You do know that.
Mm-hmm.
All too well.
So I'll get as much of it as possible, without debriding my skin.
Right.
I will head out to grab my bag and head up to the roof.
You head out to grab your bag, and you find in the common area there someone coming towards you. It's Miss O'Shea.
I'll stop.
Are you okay? Do you need anything?
I'll live.
Are you sure?
I'm uninjured. Much thanks to, I'm afraid I still don't know his name, who came and helped me get home. I'm afraid I'm going to have to be staying here for a while.
Oh, that's totally fine and understandable.
Do you need anything? I have to go change clothes, but...
No, I was just checking on you because I heard from my sister.
Oh, you have a sister?
Sort of. But go do what you need to do. And if you need anything, let us know.
And if you need anything, let me know.
Okay.
Your friend has asked me to find him a cow.
Oh, you're talking about Sam. Sam would be his name.
Oh, okay. Sam. So, yeah, he'll want to go to the market for that. But if he needs I will. I assume he does not speak Arabic.
I'm not even 100% sure what all languages he speaks. But I would assume not.
Okay, I will go change clothes and wait for him to get back, and then we can do that.
Okay, well, take it easy if you need to.
I'm fine. I'm fine.
Very well. Mr. Shea, you return to your research. Awdel, you continue on your path, and we move to the Cairo Bulletin. So there had been some discussion between the doctor and Miss Lane that they might investigate a little bit into some of the information that they'd heard, and they figured that the bulletin would be an excellent place to do so.
Yes.
It doesn't take you long after arriving that you meet the proprietor and its editor, and that's Nigel Wassef. He's extremely courteous and helpful, and he offers to give you access to any archival newspapers that you might find necessary. He is astonished, by the way, that two people from overseas would be interested, as he's fairly certain you're not native. Now, I have one question for you specifically, Miss Lane. Are you using a pseudonym?
I don't think I would be. I can't imagine people in Egypt know who I am. Remember, Maeve is the famous one here.
So, just so we're all aware, that's fine, perfectly fine with me. But remember, your own character history, the Lane family itself is fairly lucrative, fairly rich.
It's true.
It would be like saying, yes, I'm, Jonathan Rockefeller. I'm just here to look at your newspaper.
Well, we did talk about keeping a low profile after we left.
Which is why I'm asking.
Since somebody set part of England on fire, it wasn't me.
It happens all the time.
Gosh, dang it. I'm going to just go by Lillian Smith because it's as generic as you can get.
Okay. Miss Smith and Dr. Tottenbach, you hear him struggle a little bit with the German portion.
Yes. My name is Dr. Tottenbach, yes. Very good.
So how can the bulletin help?
I gestured to Miss Lane.
We're looking at articles that you have about a singer by the name of Maeve O'Shea.
Oh, yes.
A gentleman that has been guiding us, our guide, Mr. Awdel Zar, had said he had come here and seen some articles about her or talked to you about her.
Yes.
So we were just kind of wondering what articles he was referring to.
Oh, yes, fairly recently he walks into the somewhat large room where a bunch of the older papers are kept and goes to one section at the left and draws out a couple of papers. You see what look like jazz reviews, and they look like collected jazz reviews from around the world. This would have been a few years ago. And you see, clear as day, a picture of Maeve, although she's far younger than you know. And yeah, she's on stage and she seems to be singing. And there's a little bit of a small byline about her singing in Chicago. And there's a couple of other artists that are mentioned, obviously. And I would like the doctor to make a power roll.
I would be happy to. That is a 69 versus over 65. However, I'm on.
You have Iron Will?
Yes. It's exactly the same roll, 69 over 65. I guess it's fate that I'm supposed to not make this roll.
Okay. So you look at that picture and you get an intense rush mentally. There's something that burbles up in your memory, and you can feel these tendrils connect inside your brain, and you see a bar, and you see it from a bird's eye perspective. You're looking down at ceiling fans and a smoky atmosphere, and there's this beautiful Peruvian music playing. And you get introduced to a very young woman named Maeve O'Shea, who looks exactly like the woman in that picture. And you instantly, as you kind of snap back forward into Egypt, you realize this picture was likely taken years ago before she went to Peru.
This is before everything in Peru happened and was wiped.
Yeah, and you look at the paper dated, it's not that old, but you also know, as someone who reads the paper, that it is not uncommon for papers around the world to use old photos, sometimes 6 months, a year later than they're taken.
I asked Nigel if we could possibly get a copy of this article.
Oh, certainly, of course. Of course.
Ja, wunderbar. Dankeschön.
He makes you a copy of the paper. You want the whole thing?
Just this page would be fine.
Yeah. Makes you a copy of it. Doesn't take too long to copy it off for you.
Wunderbar. That is most kind. All of the things that I have heard about Cairo's hospitality and friendliness are understated.
Yes, thank you. We do what we can to make sure people have a pleasant stay here in Egypt.
Well, so far our stay has been nothing but pleasant.
Is there anything else?
I don't think so. Out of curiosity, has there been anything new in the Dushar region, the Dushar dig, out on Giza?
He kind of gives you a bit of a side eye, like, that's a rather strange question.
I am something of a, what do you say, archaeologist from the armchair, and I have been fascinated with the entire Egyptology study that I am just wondering. I am keeping a close eye on it through the papers and such.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting. Very recently, there was a dig put on by the Penny Foundation there, out near Darshur, that they lost. They had found a mummy, and it was stolen.
Oh, mein Gott, who to steal a mummy, something so ancient and valuable as... have they any leads, or perhaps something that, would... worth investigating?
Not as of yet. They are still looking. Although I have heard rumors that one of their archaeologists was fired for incompetence, and so maybe this archaeologist had something to do with letting them in and letting these people rob them. But they say it was a 6th Dynasty mummy.
Really? That is. Do you have any, or perhaps an article about that I could also take with me? That is of incredible interest to me. And I am admitting I don't even know why. It is perhaps the heat. I don't know.
And he gives you basically a press clipping about the mummy being found by the Penny Foundation dig that's out near Giza, the Clive expedition was doing.
And does the article have the name of the archaeologist that was fired?
It does, actually.
Okay. Mr. Ex-archaeologist. Fantastic. Well, I thank Nigel profusely again for all of his help and his hospitality. And I actually, before we leave, you when we mentioned Miss O'Shea, it occurs to me that you knew the name fairly off the top of your head. Perhaps you are a fan?
Oh, no, sir. In truth, not that I mind jazz music. I like jazz just fine. I prefer more of the Egyptian music that plays nearby on Ahmed Al-Din Street. But in truth, the name is familiar to me because your guide is known to me.
Oh, wunderbar. He so far he has done a very good job. He has been very thorough.
Yes, he came here. He comes here somewhat frequently to talk to some of the editors here. It's very common for the men of his profession to try to stay connected to what is going on in the city.
Well, information, from what I understand, is as much a commodity for them as anything else, water or help, So it is quite wise. I am glad we have chosen him. So far he has been, as I say, most amiable and quite, what is the English word, capable? Yeah.
Good.
But again, thank you for your help. Shall we go, Miss Smith?
Sure. Yeah, as we're walking out, I lean over to the doctor and I'm like, we should have asked them about the Brotherhood.
You do not. From what I am thinking, perhaps throwing the name around is not such a good idea. And you never know how many ears are listening. One voice, many, many ears. Come, let's head back to the hideout, to our holdout, and we will tell them what we have found, yeah?
We might not want to call it a hideout, but it is.
Well, but this is hardly a hotel, is it?
This is true. I do miss room service, yes.
I promise I will make you a cocktail later.
Thank you.
The two of you head back to the safe house, and within probably 20 minutes, you're back. So, Sam, you are wandering the streets of Cairo with a head.
So, I'm not going to wander too far. So, in my wanderings, have I found the morgue, or at least the closest one to kind of where we've been?
See, things are a little different in Egypt.
What do they do with bodies?
Well, that's a good question.
Where do you hide your dead?
So they do have places where the dead go. Cairo has a morgue, obviously. There's a city morgue.
Sure. So if based on where we dropped the bodies, I guess what would be in my estimation, if I were in charge of cleaning up the city, where would I be dragging them?
Honestly, you're not sure. This Cairo is huge, and it's also not a European city, so it's really different. You probably wouldn't be anywhere near the river, obviously, because the Nile is the major water source for the area. So they're smart enough to keep the dead away from there.
I guess how far were we from? How far was the safe house from where all that happened? I guess that's the question that makes the most sense.
Probably 15 to 20 blocks.
Okay, I don't have to go that far then. Then I will be looking for a convenient place to either dispose of and or incinerate this head.
Okay, yeah. So I'll give you, I guess, an edu roll is fine with me. I think spot hidden is a little too direct, but edu is maybe workable.
With an extreme success, 9/85.
You locate a line on a place where basically manure is being transported.
Okay, refuses works. Yeah, this is fine.
And so when you get into this line where there's going to be refuse, you see along one path of the buildings here is before it's carted out to a larger city dumping area. You can probably find a way to get the basket into that rather than, an incinerator.
Sure. Yeah, that works for me. I will make sure everything's all nice and bundled up.
This is totally a sleight of hand roll, though.
Sure. And I will I'll do my best to dump the basket without drawing attention to myself.
Okay.
And that is a 38/53.
Okay.
I whistle and walk away.
You dump the head and the basket as one. It stays together, luckily for you. And it seems that no one is the wiser.
Eat shit, cultist.
So later on that evening, back at the safe house, when people have had a chance to return, obviously that being Doctor and Lillian, there is probably going to be dinner at some point, but whether it be formal or informal. I assume some folks are going to want evening drinks. My question is since people will be in the house, are you planning anything out for the next day or two, or are you just trying to take it easy after, dealing with cultists or weird rituals? Or
I want to get a schedule down so I know when I'm meeting with the doctor when he's available.
And now I have to ask, which doctor?
Kafur.
Dr. Kafur said that you could come back and see him tomorrow.
Oh, okay. Well, then, yeah, I'll relax tonight and wait to go see him tomorrow.
Anybody else?
I am not done with Awdel.
He's at the safe house, so if you'd like to inquire after him.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I just didn't know if anybody else wanted to jump in before I accosted him.
True to his word, Doc fixes himself and Lillian a cocktail, and then he retires to somewhere out of the way.
Thanks, Doctor.
Absolutely.
Where is Jack as well?
After I cleaned up and Otto had come back in, I would like to talk to him.
Okay. So it seems like multiple people are going to try to get after Otto.
I'm going to make sure that they aren't too hard on him.
Oh, okay. So you come out of your research room?
Well, I mean, if this is around dinner, I don't know when they're going to
It'll probably be before that. Like Sam's out doing something and everybody else is off doing something. So Otto would come back in, so I would like to have a little chat with him.
Yeah,
Oh,
Jack.
that's when I talk to him, too. Okay, so I would still be there.
So,
Boy, they're just lining up for me, aren't they?
well, you decapitate a man and it tends to draw some
You
attention.
don't know that. He didn't tell you that.
Well, obviously there is a piece of a person in a basket.
Yeah, but you can't say it was a head without actually seeing it.
Well, I can only assume, okay? You know what? Maybe it was hands, maybe it was feet, maybe it was something else. I don't know.
Totally could have been feet.
I have been known to transport feet. I mean, it's happened.
So I find Otto wherever he's at.
Yep.
I'll sit down with him. So, it sounds like you've had a day.
Yes,
Have you,
I was a little slow.
well,
If I'd have thought that I was in any real danger, I would have gotten my things and brought them here earlier. But that was when I was attacked.
right. I have to say I'm glad I asked Sam to follow you.
As am I. I have no doubt I would have gotten away from them. They're not very bright fellows. But his help was in getting here was most welcome.
I have to ask, have you ever been in a situation like that before?
No, not at all. I've been accosted before, certainly, but not with fatal intent.
So you never found yourself in such a situation. It'll be difficult for you for a while.
As I told your friend Sam, this is not the first time I've had such difficulties.
Isn't it?
No. And I just don't say anything more than that.
Well, I'm going to be honest with you, Otto. We're not entirely convinced of your story. And judging by the events of today is even more of a reason to look upon it askance.
That I was set up on by 3 men? You think I asked them to?
You know there was more to it than that.
No, actually, I don't know there's more to it than that. I came to you when you had a problem. I helped you out of your problem. And I helped myself as well. But I mean you, or Miss O'Shea, or anyone in your group any harm. I am here to do a job, and I am the best man to do that job. And when that job is done, then the job will be done. And then you can move on with me or without me. But right now, I'm the best person available to do whatever it is that you need to do. Whether it's go to find a tomb, or find your way around the city, even something as mundane as get a cow. You came to me,
Well,
even if you didn't know it.
you came to me, or us, if you recall. You came directly to us.
Well, of course, I saw your, shall we say, equipment.
You've already told us that you came to us specifically for Miss O'Shea.
Well, yes, but I didn't know that she would be dragging along a trail of armed security with her.
The fact is, your story is full of holes. Now, I have no problem working with you. And eventually the truth will come out.
Ask me anything you want. I've been nothing less than honest with you.
Well, I guess we'll see.
I am here to guide Miss O'Shea where Miss O'Shea wants to go.
We'll see. But I have no problem working with you. and I only want what's best for everybody, I'll make sure that you're taken care of. And if you have any issues, if you have anything you need to talk about or deal with, you know where to find us.
I'm not going anywhere. I've been told that my life is over.
Well, I would say it's over.
Talk to your friend Sam.
Well,
He'll tell you.
Sam is Sam is Sam. He overstates things on occasion. But you have a nice day, Mr. Czar. Enjoy your stay here.
Thank you.
So I'm going to put, timeline-wise, I'm going to put the return of the Doctor and Lillian at this point. So the Doctor and Lillian now can return and make each other drinks. I don't know, something.
Yeah, Doc and Lillian enter. He heads over to, I'm sure there's a small bar accumulated on one table by this point. Begins to mix cocktails and notices the palpable tension in the air. Is everything okay? To the general room, to whoever's in the room.
Yeah, I think I'm probably upstairs studying, so.
Yeah, there was just a bit of an altercation between Awdel and what I can only assume were some cultists. It ended up bloody. I believe Awdel's fine physically, but
rattled, perhaps?
Perhaps.
It does happen. We found a couple of interesting things. He puts the articles on the counter, hands the cocktail, Cosmo, to Lillian. Pours himself a scotch.
Jack, you see a picture of Miss O'Shea when she was much younger?
Well, obviously, there was some news of her here.
But look at the photo, Jack. When do you think this was taken? Think hard.
4 or 5 years ago, maybe.
Does it bring anything back for you? Humid bar. Smelled faintly of hand-rolled cigarettes.
Well, I've had more than one flashback to that bar.
I suppose I should have been more specific, yeah.
Roughly the same time period?
Yeah, that's Bar Cordano. Actually, wait, no, wait, strike that. The picture is not from Bar Cordano, but her visage, her age, the look, the way she looks, that's the person that walked through the door when you were sitting at the table with Larkin.
Right, so about roughly the same time period.
Yes, this was early on. I grabbed it for the sentimental reason. I give it to her as a gift, Perhaps to remind her of the things other than her studies that are worthwhile.
She might remember when that picture was taken.
Perhaps. I have yet to give it to her. Actually, if you see her, can you pass it on?
I will.
And the other one, article here about apparently a mummy was stolen at the dig in the shore.
Oh yes, we know quite a bit about that already.
Do you know about the archaeologist who was fired?
Yes.
Okay, wunderbar. Good to know. Well, here, we have it in hard copy now.
I would actually like to go and check it out, to see if we can find this man, and then talk to him. Perhaps you should come along. I hear he's Dutch.
Oh, yeah, the Dutch. It has been a while since I have spoken to anyone who is Dutch. They're hard to understand, yeah?
Well, you might have a better rapport with him than I.
Yeah, perhaps. But I would be happy to go with you. I have nothing else to further the investigation. I am fascinated by seeing the Dachau region. Dachau? I am vowels, But anyway, I'm going to do some reading here. Perhaps if you need anything, I will be here.
Thank you.
Oh, and if Awdel needs to speak to me, as a medical professional, just let me know and I will be out there. I will come and speak to him. Yeah.
He might appreciate that.
All right. Sam, your return.
If I catch Jack or the Doctor on my way back to Awdel, I'll stop and kind of look over at whoever's there and ask, so have we had a chance to talk to our new guest?
I talked to him a little bit. He's still clinging to his original story. The doctor found a little bit of information that helps back it up a little bit, but I'm still suspicious.
Are we keeping him?
Yeah. Yes, definitely. I think we should keep him close.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I agree. He should stay close. He knows the area. He's an amiable fellow who is obviously capable. And, well, I mean, if we had to get rid of everyone who had done something heinous, then all of us would be in this alone, wouldn't we?
Well, that's not why I'd want to get rid of him.
He kind of smiles.
It's more, what he did is going to cause a bit of a stir. So I'm going to advise him to, to change his appearance at least, if he's going to continue working with us. Otherwise, he's going to have to remain inside. He's too well known out there. We can't have him seen alive wandering through the city with us. Not now.
That is true. I mean, not that we do not stick out like the many thumbs that are sore. But I see what you're saying. It is a good idea. This brotherhood, though, they are not one to be beating around the bush. They are definitely ones for action, so we must always be being on our guard.
All right, then. There's also the matter of that ritual that May provided me with that I do need to tend to before, if my calendar's right, tonight might be the last night that I'll be able to for some time. So my night is likely not over yet.
Well, if you're needing anything from me, then let us know. I'm sorry, Jack. Go ahead.
No. As I said earlier, I would like to sit with you while you do the ritual, just in case the worst were to happen.
I'd appreciate the company, to be honest. I don't really know how I'm going to... Well, that's one thing to consider later. We've got to find Awdel.
Let me know when you do the ritual. I think I would like to be there to monitor your vital functions, of course, if something should go wrong. And as, of course, a student of the occult myself, I find it fascinating.
I smile. Yeah, I go look for Awdel with my tackle box.
I mean, I don't assume he's very hard to find. It's only a house.
He said he was on the roof, right? So I will go to the roof, to the one spot where there's a setup here. He's probably in my chair. I will make my way over to Awdel, and I will set the box down.
Actually, if I may, a little bit of creative license.
Sure.
Provided Awdel doesn't mind. It might be that Awdel is on a prayer mat.
Could be facing toward Mecca right now.
Right.
So I will stand next to him and put my box down, and I'll wait until he feels like acknowledging me.
Awdel, you finish up your prayer for the evening.
Just kind of staring there at each other. What's he doing?
I will finish my prayers. Bit irritated that that I'm basically being stood over while I do it, but when I'm done, I will fold up my prayer rug and roll it into my bedroll again.
So it seems you're going to be staying with us.
Well, I did leave my apartment in a hurry.
Well, if you're going to continue to try to be useful to us, we can't have you walking around looking like yourself.
I guess that's true.
So I understand this may be an uncomfortable thought for you, but I want you to ask yourself something very important right now.
I just look at him.
How attached are you to your beard? Because I promise you it'll grow back.
Would it surprise you to think that I had already thought of that, but the beard is not enough?
Oh, no, I know. I open up the tackle box and begin, taking out all of my stuff, basically. And I give him a good once-over. I say, okay, well, we're going to do what we can here, but we're likely going to be removing most of that. And we'll be changing a few things. So the person you look at in the mirror will not resemble yourself.
Would I have any idea what I'm looking at when he puts his tackle box out in front of me?
It's a box? Not really. I guess the question is, do you have...
I don't have disguise other than at base.
Yeah, so no.
It looks like a makeup kit.
Yeah. Which he probably would not be familiar with either.
Sure.
So I would say likely no. Although, I mean, he's pretty educated, so you might have some idea about what he's... Yeah, I mean, once it's open, you'd know exactly what it is.
I'm going to look at him and go, don't take this the wrong way, but how long exactly do you think all of that will last in the streets?
It'll last. As long as you tend to it the way that I tell you to. We can keep you alive. At least until we're done here. What happens after that is up to you, I suppose.
Well, the first and most obvious thing is I should shave my head and my beard.
Don't think too much about it. Just let me work. And I reach in, I bust out a big old pair of shears. and I sharpen them. And I will start humming to myself as I get to work. And I'm going to basically remove any superfluous hair from his head and face. I will reshape his eyebrows. I'm going to also stain him in most of his exposed parts and apply some like real deep ink, like ink stain makeup as well to, enhance certain shadows or facial structures, or to make them look more or less gaunt, depending on like what I think is going to help. I'm basically just trying to divert from his appearance as much as possible while taking advantage of whatever like his genetic expression is. Like, I'm not trying to necessarily change his core ethnicity, but I want to put him on a far end of variances, like darker skin, deeper cheekbones, deeper eye sockets, like, all that. I'll trim his eyelashes if I have to.
Okay. Why don't you give me a disguise roll?
Sure. So it's a hard success, 35 over 90.
Okay. So the process for him takes probably about an hour. But you do have the ability to reshape and retone parts of his skin. You cut his hair very short. You remove his beard. His mustache doesn't have to completely go. It actually works probably a little bit better for him if it's just shaped into a different, a more manageable method.
Yeah, I'll reshape his hair. Yeah. And I'll also, if his hair is black or brown, I'm going to lighten it and likely gray it.
Actually, I would ask him to remove it.
Oh, well, I'm going to remove it anyway. So what I'm probably going to end up giving you is a wig.
Just being bald would be good.
Well, but that's not enough. Because I'm using your hair to do this.
You guys work for about an hour or so that evening to make him an all-new him. And I think we'll leave that as a coda to our episode this evening. So thank you so much for joining us on another episode of the Old Ways podcast. We look forward to having your listening ears again next week.